a daddy Mac. Dance 30 years got our way, trading life and markets every day. Rusty's chained to the mines, digging deep day by day. But when Option Omega releases new features, he's free to come out and play. Option Omega, you're trading home, where every move makes you feel less alone.
Good morning, Troy. You're muted. We have special guest that Troy is about to introduce. Here we go.
Yeah. Below me is Matt, my trusty main kick. I hate saying sidekick. And to my left here on this screen that you see are two beautiful people, Rob and Maria. If you guys are in the Discord community at any given time, you've seen Rob and Maria give a lot of knowledge, drop a lot of funny stuff, and be generally enjoyable to have in our Discord. And then Rob has quite the story, that he has been involved in for a long time that has to do with trading. So I thought it'd be a fun day to just talk a little bit about who you guys are. Who are these people that are, constantly saying funny things and giving wisdom in the community? So Rob, Maria, how are you guys doing?
Good morning. I'm Rob, by the way.
Good morning, Maria.
Thank you for clarifying.
We're doing great. We just love Options Omega. It has filled a real need that I have, as I am a gambling addict and have been since a child. It's interesting. My grandparents, they studied at Princeton with Einstein. My grandfather was a physicist, and my grandmother taught mathematics and German, and they used to gamble with Einstein at length. As I grew up in our household on Sunday nights, we would all play blackjack. So I learned to play blackjack when I was 10, and they had me start dealing at 12. I started counting cards at 14, and then I would go on cruises with my father, and my brother and I would signal him as we counted cards, and we would play just to, pay off the cruise. And we did that for years. But I was a bookie all through high school, paid for college as a bookie, went to law school as a bookie. As I practiced law, of course, I couldn't really be a bookie. They would frown on that. But eventually I was able to retire, and I started a website that was the first online sportsbook in the United States. Unfortunately, after a couple of years, Janet Reno, the Attorney General, she invited me to sell that company and to not run it anymore. She gave me 24 hours. And so I took her advice and sold it. I'd also started a company that created online education. I took that company public called ECLG, ecollege.com. And after I took that public, then I retired and I became a full-time gambler, and I met Maria and we got married. And we used to go to the casino 3 days, 4 days a week. And we'd sit there and play blackjack, and I would yell and scream, and casino presidents would love me. They said I brought in more people at the Treasure Island than the pirate ship out there. And she would get pissed off because we have this constant debate. Okay, if let's say I start off with 500 grand playing blackjack. That's my bank. And I get it up to 900 grand. And say after 6 or 7 hours, I'm up 700 grand. I started at 5, I got out of 7. I made 200,000. Isn't that right?
No, because he was at 900,000. I told him, let's go.
And that's my life, right? No matter what I do. So, but in gambling, and you always want to be the house, right? I mean, the house always wins. That's the standard rule. If you go to Caesar's Palace ever and ask the president of Caesar's Palace, he will tell you Rob Helmick paid for floor 6 and floor 13. And that's how often and how much I lost there before I started really studying the mathematics of the games and trying to figure out what's the best way to do it. And eventually I got kicked out of every casino because I counted cards. And counting cards is not illegal, but counting cards is basically based on backtesting. It's the same principle. Yeah. You just want to set up an expected value that's in your favor, and then you want to do it over and over and over and over again. So in gambling, what I liked about running the online sports book and like being a bookie is I was the casino, right? I was the one who got the odds in my favor. The expected value was in my favor. And so for people who don't know, expected value is just what is your profit on a particular transaction. Then you have to take out your slippage, you have to take out your commissions, and you have to take out your overhead, and you have to take out your fees. And if it's still positive, then you just want to do that over and over and over again. And that's what casinos do. And that's why they don't like big players. They like people who come in and pay, $1 on a slot machine. If you ever go into a casino, 98% of it is slot machines, because that's what they want. They want people to come in, trade small time over and over and over and over and over again. They know that they're going to win 3% of every dollar traded on a slot machine. That's their expected value. They know they're going to have to pay our F&B room and food board to the bigger players like myself, and they're going to have to operate the casino and the hotel and the entertainment and all that. And they still have a positive expected value. So all they want to do is over and over and over again. And so as I got kicked out of all these casinos, I was looking for another thing to do with my life. And after Maria, she flips houses for a living, but we had downturn because of COVID. And that's about when we started trading options. We didn't know what a put or a call was in 2000.
COVID was actually our first black swan experience.
And I bet.
Experience.
It was really a learning experience for us. And so I did the same thing that I did in casino. I would look for historically trades that produced a positive expected value. There was no back testing. And we were trading short naked puts in all kinds of companies, and 6-day, 7-day naked puts. And then we would buy the stock and then do a wheel strategy, sell covered calls until we got out, usually at the money covered calls. And we did that for a couple of years, and it was really good. It was really good.
So can I back up? Can I back up for a second? I'm going to ask a really stupid question, just because I think there's people who think they know what gambling is, but you threw a term out a while ago that I think people think they know what this is, but can you describe what it is that you're a bookie? What is a bookie? What do they do?
A bookie is someone who takes bets. It's a casino operator is a bookie. It's more of a street language, but typically a bookie does it in sports, right? And by the way, things people need to understand about options and gambling, how they're the same, is you're not gambling or playing against the house. People give a misconception. I'm playing against the bookie or the house or against the market maker. That's not the case. It's a zero-sum transaction. So for every time I bet on the Yankees, there's someone else betting on the Red Sox. The bookie, the casino, they just take a piece in the middle. Likewise, every time I sell a call, there's someone else buying that call, and there's someone in the middle who's taking a piece. People say, the market makers are against me. Market makers are against me. No, the market makers don't care. All they care is that there's lots of transactions. Likewise, a bookie. All we care about is that there's lots of transactions. We know the expected value is in our favor. The more transactions, the more we're going to win. So as I was looking for these types of trades, Maria, she makes a lot more money than I do actually trading. She does it by studying a particular company. You pretty much get all the information that you can. You watch how a particular stock trades.
Yeah, in a sense that I'm, I guess, the normal trader, I would think, because I listen to all the news. I research the companies. And then I feed all that information to him, and he's like, he has his back testing and computer. He has his thing. He doesn't listen to it. He tells me, "Nah, don't worry about it."
I don't listen to all that.
I'm like Chicken Little. I'm feeding him all this information.
What I found is with Options Omega, why I like it is it's all math, right? Math is my first love, other than Maria, of course.
Obviously, of course.
So what I like to do is I find a trade with a positive expected value, and we know that if you trade that trade 100 times, you're going to have a 98% chance it's going to equal the back test to the bell curve. If you do it 400 times, you have a 99.9%. If you do it 1,000 times, you're going to have 99.99%. So likewise, that's why casinos have as many slot machines as they can, and they bring in as many dollar players as they can, and they want it to be not only thousands of times, but millions of times. Okay, so now the robot made it even better. So in a casino, we're the casino, right? Now we want to have a dealer has no choice whatsoever. A dealer must follow the exact rules from the back test, right? So they're going to hit on 16. They're going to stand on 17. They look and see what the cards are. That's the market. They look and see, and whatever the market is, there's a set of rules that us, the casino, gave to the dealer. He's going to follow those. Robot, same way. We find our expected value at the back test. Now we tell the robot, this is what you're going to do no matter what. I don't care if Trump attacks Iran. I don't care if Trump's doing this or that. I don't care if Biden's doing this or Kamala's going to run for president. I don't care. I don't care about the news. None of that matters to me. All I do is I take my expected value and I'm going to run that. I'm going to run that particular set of tests. And I have a bunch of tests I run. I do around 200 trades a day. And I don't do any of them. I mean, basically, I set up my robot in the morning and I go lay by the pool.
And if I need a back test, I'll just give it to him.
She just makes me do it. But all day long, her complaint is she's stuck to the screen from 9:30 until 4 o'clock, yelling and screaming at it. But she does make a lot of money, but I don't know the emotional toll you take. I don't do anything.
I have high blood pressure.
Well, as we all do. I mean, cast the first.
I don't. I lay by the pool. I let the robot do it. She goes nuts because we have it on different brokerages, and it goes every time it makes a trade. And she goes, oh, you did a bunch of trades. Did you do good? Did you do bad? I don't know. It's like when I was gambling, people would say, well, I want you to invest my money in gambling. Okay, sports gambling, fine. And all I do is I bet on the Red Sox and the Yankees are playing each other, and I bet on both of them. So I'm going to bet the Yankees when they're plus 110. I'm going to bet the Red Sox if it moves to minus 105. I know I'm going to make 2.5% on that particular transaction, no matter who wins. And they say to me, well, Rob, who are you betting for today? The Yankees or the Red Sox? My first answer is I have no idea. My second answer is all I'm doing is playing the odds against each other. And they say, well, how many games did you bet on? My answer is always the same. All of them. All of them.
Yeah.
All of them. Are you kidding me? And by the way, if people tell you, oh, I can predict the stock market, I'm going to use back testing. I'm going to predict the back. I'm going to tell you, my grandpa, statistician, he gave me this penny. All right. In 1967, I'm carried it with me all the time. He said, Rob, most things in life are random, but I'm going to teach you something very, very, very important. If you flip this coin 16 times and 16 times in a row, it comes up heads. What's the chance? What is the chance? What's the probability that it's going to come up heads the 17th time? And I hope to God, everybody watching this said 50-50. It's always 50-50. The stock market likewise is random, and I can prove it to you. I can absolutely prove to you that you go on CNN or CNBC or all these shows, there's a whole industry of monkeys that tell you, oh, market's going to go up today, market's going to go down today, price index, super house sales, blah, 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 Powell, blah, 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 all noise, right? No. Here's the dirty little secret. If anybody could really predict what the stock market was going to do, they wouldn't be talking on TV. They'd be investing all their money. If you know Microsoft's going to go up tomorrow, that's what you would do. And you would have all the money. You would have it all. But no one can.
It's always the quiet ones.
But nobody can do this, right? Nobody. Yeah. She can, but she's on a very narrow rifle approach. Very, very narrow.
A quick question, because I have some friends that love gambling. And I promised them that I was going to turn this show into just questions for them. So from some masters. So here's a question, a dumb question. Is there a sport that's where the odds have been proven to be better than other sports?
Okay.
It's a dumb question.
No, it's a very smart question. And it's a question as a gambler I got every single day. If I didn't get it once a day, I'd be shocked. You got it 10 times a day. It wouldn't surprise me. Sure. There are a couple of great bets because options, remember, and like sports gambling, are sociology, not psychology. So what Maria does, for example, is sociology trading. She's looking for a herd movement. And what happens is, our whole theory is that people overpay when they buy options. They believe that the benefit is greater than the cost. Dirty little secret. That's not true. That's why we only sell premium. Okay. So what's the best bet? You're looking for places where the group, the masses, are able to bet, and they're going to not understand the math, and so they're going to bet the wrong way. But you also want to understand some sociology. My number one go-to bet, I tell people every year, is in the Final Four March Madness. There are going to be 48 games played in the first 2 days. Did you know that the hardest day to get a room in Las Vegas is the Thursday and Friday starting of the first week of March Madness? Not the finals, not the Super Bowl, not the Olympics, not the World Cup. it's the first 2 days. Why? Because the opportunity is golden, and you have all these rubes that are going into the casino, and they're betting on their teams. But here's what's great. In the March Madness, they take the best team and they play it against the worst team. So the bookie says, well, it's plus 24 points. So the bottom team gets a 24-point advantage, right? Now, the Sisters of St. Mary playing Duke. The Sisters of St. Mary have never been on TV all year. This is their one and only time. They've got people that have actually played for 4 years for the Sisters of Mary. They have a chance to play. The coach is going to play them. Now, you're Coach K, and you're in charge of Duke, and the line is 24. And by the way, if they say, well, I never look at the line, I can tell you what they do. They always look at the line. So they know it's 24 points. So they all go, all the boosters go to the game, and they say, Coach, come here. I put in millions of dollars in this program. It would be nice. It would be nice if you covered. It would be great. It would be great if you covered. You will be shocked at how many times Duke will win by 25. Because remember, Coach K, he can play his starters, and they're up by 20. He can pull them out. Let me tell you, the 11th player on Duke is better than the best player who's ever played for the Sister of St. Mary's. So it's just a matter of how much they want to run it up. So you're going to look for, now, granted, not all of them are, ones versus 16s, but you're going to look for any spread that's 11 points or more. And what you're going to do is bet the spread, which I never bet. I always bet the money line dog. If you ever listen to what I talk about with gambling, it's always the money line dog. Again, it's like always sell puts, because that's the highest expected value. People underestimate what's going on when you bet on the money line dog. So the first 2 days, you're going to bet. Actually, you can even do it the first 4 days. Is you're going to bet any spread more than 11 points. Take the favorite minus the point. So Duke is minus 24. They have to win by 25 for you to win. But what he's doing is he's running up the score. The boosters make millions. What do you know? The boosters, what do they do with those millions? They give it to the basketball team. Ooh, that's kind of a dirty little game. But it happens all the time, routinely, year after year after year. The other greatest bet of all time is always bet in favor of the Boston Bruins. Why is that? Because people from Boston are terrible people. That's why. People from Boston will tell you over and over, they're wicked good. I love the Bruins. But when it comes to gambling, they're used to the Red Sox losing. They're used to the Bruins losing. And they say, I hate the Bruins are going to lose tonight. They're going to lose tonight. They don't care about the penny, right? They don't care about the probability. And so they bet against their home team. Hey, bet on the Bruins. It's the number one bet, I think 22 years in a row, is to bet the money line on the Bruins. Now, wow. When it comes to any other bet, like in football, there's only 17 games per week usually. I bet the money line dog on all of them. I bet 5 or 10 minutes before the line goes, because the ill-informed people are, there's lots of gambling, right? So the markets are narrow, and you want to always bet the money line, never the points. And what you want to do is you want to wait until right before game time, because you have a lot of people who say, I don't know, should I bet? The Giants are favored by a touchdown over the Dolphins. Who should I bet on, the Giants or Dolphins? I want to win. I'm going to bet on the favorite, right? I'll bet the money line on the favorite. They just have to win by 1, and I win, and they're 7-point favorites. All right, no, I will take the money line dog. What that means is I only have to put up, say, $800 to win 1,000. They have to put up $1,200 to win 1,000, right? So what they don't realize is that over time, the dog always wins, because 85% of the people bet on the favorite. So that means there's way more money chasing the favorite than there is chasing the dog. In fact, I used to go to casinos and I said, I will take all your money line dogs and cover for you, because casinos, they don't want to hold any position. And so I would routinely take 100,000 or 200,000 on a money line dog, because I know that over time that's going to pay off. One thing I like about one of the many things I like about options is that, first of all, in options, nobody breaks your legs. As I asked Caesar's Palace, do you ever break anybody's legs? He says, not as often as you think. But the other thing I really like, he also told me, Rob, I don't care if you win or you lose as long as you don't win. But the other thing I really like about it is that there is a lot more action, right? We have action every day. There are 390 trading minutes in a day. That's about 23,000 trading seconds in a day. The CBOE breaks that down into 1,000 milliseconds per second. So there's about 23,400,000 opportunities to trade. And by the way, if you think you're trading in real time, you're not. By the time it gets to you, there's probably been 100, 200 milliseconds at least that have gone by and people have traded. But what I really like about it is there's lots of opportunities to bet, because remember, what I want to do is I want to hit it over again as many times as I can. And you can't really do that in the NFL or March Madness or sports, although there is, sports gambling every day except for, the day after the Home Run Derby. You don't get an opportunity to bet thousands of times like you do with the SPX or with any options. I mean, like I said, I've traded about 200-ish transactions a day, right? Mm-hmm. A day, yeah.
So when you're doing that, I'm going to reverse engineer a little bit. You are probably, I think you just said this, you're just selling premium. You're not buying any premium.
Well, sometimes I do, only to alleviate buying power issues. Sure. When I try, one of the things as a trader is as a gambler and as a trader, first thing people tell me, what do I need to know? Take the amount of money you're willing to lose. That is, what are you willing to lose as a gambler or options trader? $1 million, $10,000, $100, doesn't matter. Divide that by 100. Okay, that's your max trade. People say, it's buying power, net leg, blah 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 blah. Now, how much are you willing? I might have $1 million in that leg, but maybe you're a greedy bastard like me and you don't want to lose more than 10 grand. Okay, take 10 grand, divide that by 100. Your max bet's $100, right? So that's what you're going to do. Now, options is completely set up for rich people. Poor people don't have a chance, right? Rich people you can say, well, okay, I'm $100,000, let's say. So my max bet's $1,000. That's all I want to lose on a trade. Well, you can't do it, and they can put it in queues. Can't afford to do it. So it takes too much buying. It takes about $9,600 worth of buying power if you're doing a 12 delta 60 DTE trade. So it's all set up to the advantage of the high dollar player, right? Likewise, the same thing in gambling, by the way. For those of you who don't know, if you lose enough, like I have, you can go to the house and say, well, I want 25% of my losses back. I said, okay. I said, really? Okay, how about 50? They said, how about 40? I said, okay, 40. So if I would lose $1 million in a month, then we did it monthly, then they would give me $400,000 back. I still lost 600 grand. But the idea is you try and, you're going to hopefully group your losses against your winning. So on winning months, you get to keep it all. On losing months, they get to take it. So, okay. So what was the question? By the way, you see my prop?
I love it.
That's official.
This is actually not official. I don't know if you can tell, but part of this Maria did. It's not the official. It's the official thing.
Matt,
so back to money management. So take your amount of money that you're willing to lose. Let's say it's $10,000. That's now a $100 bet. And people is like, $100 bet. I don't care. Okay, where's my penny? Another. If I told you, anyone that's watching this, if I said every bet you make in options or in gambling is going to be for a penny, right? Then I would say, how's your trade going, or how's your bet going? Well, I don't care because it's only a penny. Exactly. Then you're doing the right amount. If you're doing more than 100, if you're doing on any particular trade enough money that you're worried about it, that you find yourself watching the screen, you're betting too much. You're betting too much. The good news is there are thousands, millions of trades available every day. It's not like sports where there's 17 on a Sunday. That's it. There's millions of them. There's millions of them, and they're every single day. When she used to flip houses, we always said that she was a bear in the stream looking for a house to buy, to flip. You're a bear in the stream, right?
You just don't want to grab the bad one. Right.
You don't care about getting the biggest salmon. You just don't want to get a sick one that makes you sick. You don't want to have a big loss that wipes you out. Because if you lose a penny, I know that tomorrow you can come back and trade again. If you lose this penny 17 days in a row, and by the way, it's all fun and games when people say, well, I've lost five times in a row. I'm going to get rid of the strategy. Really? Is that what the back test did? Did you look at the back test? Did you look at how many losses you have? Yeah, it says I have 17 in a row, and this MDD, what's that mean? That means your max drawdown. So it's all fun and games until you've lost 15 days in a row, and because it just, it's a slow death. And you're starting to worry like this transaction doesn't work. Well, guess what? You got 5 more days before you get to your longest consecutive loss or to your max drawdown. there's a guy named Wizzy in the chat room, and he talks about take your max loss. Take your max loss for any one particular day and divide it by the average wins, and that's how many days it's going to take you to recover from your biggest loss. And so you need to make sure that you're talking about pennies. You're not talking about the value of your house. And so whatever number that is, that's what your number is that should be trading. Obviously, the bigger number, then you can have more buying power per trade, and you have a real advantage. Also, we run the back test, and like we run 12 delta, 60 DTE naked puts in the queues. We know that, and we take those off at say 25 to 50%. It kind of varies, and we know that those are going to run about 12 to 14 days. Okay, well, if you're going to put one on, and if you say, well, I'm going to allocate, and there's $9,600 in buying power. So let's make the math easy. It's $10,000. Say, well, we're going to allocate $100,000 to this particular trade. Well, if that's the case, then you can only do it 10 times. It's going to take 14 days, but your max run's probably going to be 20 days. That means you can only do it once every other day. It's simple math, right? Yeah. But that's going to produce, whatever the expected value is, 62% or whatever it might be. And you can run that, and it's, not correlated to your zero DTE trades. So it's all set up to the advantage of people that have more money, right? And that's why if you really don't have a lot of money, I would highly suggest you look at a hedge fund or some other fund that has the advantages. I mean, you can do it for fun, but remember the penny. Keep the bet small. That's and that's true for sports gambling as well as it is for options.
100%.
Yeah, that's super interesting. I'm wondering about the whole keeping the bets small. You guys have obviously been in several different fields, careers, type things where emotions play a huge role.
Right, tell them about
the 700,000. Yes.
No, you don't. Listen, whatever you guys want to share is fine, or not share is fine.
No, that's fine.
I was just
Yeah,
I mean, I was just wondering if you had any examples of like where you started with your emotions meant, a few years ago. You guys are both in your 30s, obviously. And so
you're 66. I'm 67.
Okay. So you've done this for a little while. What have you learned? What could you share about the emotional side of options trading or being a bookie or sports betting, etc.?
I'm so glad you asked because, as a gambler and as an option trader, I would say we always remember our losses and we never care about the wins.
Which is part of learning.
Right. Which is part of learning. And by the way, we know of a trading firm. For those of you that are looking for a trading firm that always wins, I'm going to tell you my favorite trading firm. It's woulda, coulda, and shoulda. Woulda, coulda, and shoulda. These guys are unbelievable. They never lose. How many times we've said, if I would have done this, if Trump would have waited to talk 15 more minutes, if I set my stop loss at 200 rather than 100, right? So I'm going to pick a day at random. Let's say, I don't know, December 19th. How about that? Okay. December 19th, Powell starts talking at 2:30. And I've got a note on my computer, stop loss on my Iron Condor or whatever it is at 400%. First 3 minutes, boom, 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 600%. It's ridiculous. I'm smart. I know what the hell I'm doing.
Standing up, screaming over the
screaming at the damn thing.
Matt Rusty and I were watching. We were together that day. We were watching it happen live.
Okay, so down. Now I'm down 1,000%, 2,000%. I'm trading my son-in-law's account. She's trading. Get John out. I get him out at 5,000% down.
And I knew once he got John out, I lost all confidence and I got myself out, but he still stood in. He said, it can't possibly keep going because every time you change it, it goes the opposite direction. I could have waited one more second. It's going back up. It always happens.
$742,000 later, I got out after 92 minutes. If I would have stayed in, I would have lost more.
Yeah.
I'm a freaking genius. Gambling, my biggest loss, I carried the ticket with me, $97,000 on the Lakers against Philadelphia. This is Kobe and Shaq. They've been resting at home for 11 days. They're 12-point favorites. I'm betting the money line. So I bet $97,000 to beat Allen Iverson. I win 10, lose 97 if they lose. Allen Iverson was in a 7-game series. He's all beat up. They have to travel all across the country. They only get 2 days rest. Okay. I'm in Vegas. I take my son to the Stardust up to the top to go on the roller coaster. So I don't see the game, right? Because I don't care, right? I know I'm going to win. It's a slam. It's a lock. People tell me, Rob, it's a lock. Okay. I carry this ticket in the back. I hold up the ticket and start the story.
Remember you wanted to bet more and they wouldn't let you?
That was at a fight.
Oh,
I was at a fight with Jordan and Barkley, and I tried to bet more and they wouldn't let. I'll tell you that story. I mean, we don't have enough time for that story. I got a million stories. Barkley and Jordan were great to gamble with. Barkley was Jordan is very quiet when he's gambling, but Barkley is hilarious. And the casinos would oftentimes put me with people because I talk a lot when I'm gambling.
Sure.
Sure. So go to Stardust, come down. Going to the casino, the head guy of the Treasury Island president comes up and says, Rob, I'm sorry about your loss. I go, what are you talking about? He said, didn't you watch the game? No, I'm a better dad than I am a gambler. So they tell me, well, here's what happened. 2 minutes to go. Lakers are ahead by 5. Allen Iverson makes a couple of 3-pointers. They tie up the game. Okay, now game is tied. Goes into overtime. 2 minutes left to go. Lakers ahead by 5, right? Lakers have the ball. If you had said, Rob, would you like to double down? I would say, yes, I would, please. Thank you. I will take all of that you're willing to give. I'll put up another 97 to win 10. 2 minutes to go. Lakers have the ball, up by 5. You guessed it. Allen Iverson steals it, steps back 3. Lakers up by 2. Lakers have the ball. Minute and a half to go. Allen Iverson steals the ball, steps back. Boom. Philadelphia wins by 5. I lose $97,000 to try and make 10. It was a lock. I carried that in my pocket till I lost my wallet in New York in that cab that one time.
Mm-hmm.
He's the original AI. He was a gangster. You're talking my language.
One of the best players ever. Yeah,
for sure.
And by the way, best basketball player ever to always bet on. Absolutely, positively, greatest basketball player of all time. There is no question. Cheryl Miller. Cheryl Miller. NCAA champion multiple times. WNBA champion multiple times as a player. WNBA champion multiple times as a coach. You know, she and Reggie used to be out in Laguna. Yes. And Reggie would say, I'll play against you. And they said, well, you know, who are you going to use? He said, I'll use that girl if you give me double. He, by the way, was a great gambler. And he would double odds, right? Double odds. I'll play with that girl. Cheryl was great. Cheryl was great. She was the best. She was absolutely.
I have one more question about the specifics of gambling, again, for a friend that's very interested in this. Do you ever, because odds are always changing intra-game, especially on some of these, you know, I've seen football games, a lot of this, watching with my friend, and like, you know, someone goes up 21-0 that wasn't supposed to. Will you ever take intra-game odds and go, you know, instead of before the game?
I don't bet on sports anymore because a 5% VIG, it's too much. I can get much better odds on SPXs or whatever. But when they just started online or intra-game gambling, again, I always go back to my losses. It's a good lesson that I learned. So I'm watching the Steelers play somebody in the Super Bowl, and the Steelers the other team is coming down and they're on the 5-yard line. And so I bet on them thinking, well, once they score, then the odds will much go in their favor, and then I'll bet on the other side, right? And I bet $8,000. I increased my bet $8,000 on the next play. And all of a sudden, 20 seconds later, I'm watching the TV, and the odds changed after 10 seconds, and the guy intercepts the ball for a touchdown going the other way. What did I learn? I learned that TV is 22 seconds delayed from the actual game. And so if you put somebody at the game, right, and you have live gambling, then you have a 22-second life advantage, which is a lifetime.
Yeah.
So you can imagine what I did in the next Super Bowl. I set up multiple accounts, both in Vegas and online, offshore at that time. I got my brother a ticket. I got him 5 cell phones and a pair of binoculars, and he was at the game, right? And then I had everyone on speakerphone across the country that was because they wouldn't let me place bets. And so we were able to place bets instantly at that time, they reduced it to only a 12-second advantage. If you were using satellite, it was even longer because it's 22,000 miles up and 22,000 miles back. But if you're on cable, it was a little bit faster. But we had the ultimate advantage. They don't let you do that anymore. They figured that out and they've delayed some of the action. But I used to always bet in game when I could. I suppose I won sometimes, but I remember the losses. I don't remember the wins. How many other?
What about the fight?
Oh, the fight. Yeah. So I go to again gambling, right? You find out inside information. Oh, I really know this. So this guy, the Zab Judah fight, there's an undercard. I'm sitting with the president of Caesar's Palace, Jordan and Barkley in the front row of the fight. And I get a call saying, Rob, the undercard, this guy, he's a lock. He's a lock. So I run from this out in the outdoor arena. I got to run all the way over to the cage. My cage number is 777 because they built a new cage. I got the first pick. That's a lucky number for me. So I pulled out what I want to bet. I think 400 grand, something like that. And so I ran over to the sportsbook. I said, 400 grand on this thing. And they said, no, the max we can take is $50,000. I said, this is bullshit. You're a casino. Take the bet, right? 400 grand on this undercard. It's about to go off in 10 minutes. Nope. The only person that can authorize that is the president of the casino. I said, I'm sitting with him. Call him, right? He said, I don't have his number. I said, I do. Called him, right? Said, hey, I want to take this bet, 400 grand, and handed it to the thing. Guy, he said, Rob, the best I can do. Hang on. What can you do for me? He said, 115,000. Okay, fine. So 150,000, got to put the money, go back to cage, put the money in. I got a guard with me, run to the fight, sit down, boom. Here's the fight. I'm going to recreate the fight for you. My guy, black, doesn't matter what color, but a black guy, built, stomach, the 6-pack, the whole 9 yards. The other guy, big, fat, white guy, bald, pig, right? Ring, bell, dings, ding. Recreate for the fight for you. White guy comes out like this. Boom, catches my guy just in the chin and off, and my guy falls down. As he's falling down, I remember him looking at me like, oh, Rob, I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry.
He steps on his ankle and breaks it. Steps on his ankle and breaks it,
no.
right? 1, 2, 3, game over, I lose. I stand up, yeah. Barkley's going crazy. Jordan's laughing. The president of Caesar's Palace goes, what are you doing? You lost 115,000. I say, dude, I just won $285,000. You didn't take my bet. I'm the happiest loser that there ever was. That's me. I'm the happiest loser in town. But my point is, it's not predictable. It's not predictable. It's completely random. Just look for expected value. And for God's sakes, people, bet small. And don't worry about people. Oh, a lot of people are going to use options Omega, so there's going to be a whole bunch of people that are all trading the same. No, they're not. And, they're going to find out the odds are against them. Doesn't matter. Everybody knows the casino, the house is there. People still bet. Everyone knows the lottery is a ripoff. They still bet the lottery every single day. They're going to keep on buying options because that's all people can do. If you don't have much money, you got to do the lottery ticket. And we're going to make money on it because we're just going to sell them premium. And they're going to overvalue that lottery ticket. It's the greatest deal going. I love it.
Rob,
and do nothing. Oh, there's Barbie, of course.
Another guest. We love it.
Listen.
You can guess who named Barbie. She's worried because the market's about to open and she likes to get her bets in early.
Well, that makes sense to me. Speaking of, we should go, but you guys are awesome. Thanks so much for taking the time with us. Listen, I've been thinking about this. I want to have you guys on starting March Madness. I want to do a segment during March Madness, the intro of it. I think that'd be awesome to talk to because what you just described about Vegas, I have multiple friends who fly to Vegas every year for March Madness. They sit in those big rooms, and they are the rubes that you're talking about. So I love it. I love it. But anyway, you guys are awesome. Thanks so much.
I can tell you all the ins and outs of it. I mean, you can make money. If you get the card, again, same thing as options. If you're a big money player, you can get the numbers running in your favor, and they're willing to lose money to me in exchange for this, bringing people in and getting excitement going in the casino. That's what it's all about. So,
yep. You guys are awesome.
Talk about it. We can work out our fee later. That's no problem.
That's perfect. I appreciate you. Well, listen, get to surfing. Maria, get to looking at the screen all day, it sounds like.
Yeah,
All day. Yeah, I'm going to
exactly.
we got our granddaughter in surfing school down the beach. So.
Oh, awesome. Well, you guys have a great rest of your day. I appreciate you.
Thank you very much. I hope I didn't bore anybody. You guys have a great day.